To be honest, Dan, I've got no trousers on because I don't know how to take my aircon down.
Hello and welcome to the Claret and Blue podcast, a bonus episode. John, you messaged me about 10 minutes ago saying, are you free? I said yes, here we are. What do you want to talk about?
My blanket.
What I want to talk about, John, is a couple of different things. There's been an Unai Emery press conference that you've been to. There's been a Fenerbahçe press conference that I'm less bothered about. And the game is tomorrow. This video is coming out, I don't know, 9:30, Wednesday night or something. I want to start with the reaction to Emery's presser, and in a hope that you can kind of clear up a little bit. I've seen a lot of worry, panic, speculation of, did anyone spot Unai seemed in a really bad mood? His answers were odd. He looked like he had a short temper. Is he fed up with the whole situation, the PSR, the transfer? Is this getting to him? Can you clarify on A, any of that's true, B, Unai Emery is always like that, or this is just one of those things that has been blown out of proportion?
Unai doesn't like to do press conferences having just travelled, it seems. I've been in all of them bar one. In terms of putting the meat on the bones for that one, I haven't seen too much. I've seen a little bit of people saying he didn't look himself at all. It's not ideal, is it? You know, travelling, usually after taking training, then travelling and then getting to the stadium, taking questions and then going to have your dinner or whatever it may be and prepare for a match. It's an inconvenience, essentially. He didn't want to be there, to be honest. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. I don't think any manager would want to do it, to be honest with you, having just travelled. But that's how it is.
Yeah, so this is just Unai Emery being human, right? He's can't be arsed, basically, as brutal as that is.
I think any manager, or almost all of them, would say they don't want to be doing press duties after flying. And they've got a game to prepare, or they're in a foreign country, whatever it may be. So, yeah, firstly, it's that he's never particularly perky in a European press conference, especially if you've, again, come to the other side of Europe, really. Last January was a difficult month for Villa in terms of on the pitch, because there was some uncertainty around different players, which we obviously, some of which we knew after the event, if that makes sense, i.e. Watkins. But makes sense having known what we knew then. If that make, you know what I'm trying to explain there. And then obviously in the summer as well, uncertain in this January, some uncertainty. Again, it doesn't seem like we get a bit of an easy window really anymore, do we? And as a manager, he doesn't know between the next couple of days or 4 or 5 days where his squad is going to be, what it looks like, because that is transfers for you. And it's middle of the season as well. Unai as a manager, well, Unai is a head coach. That's his job. He is head coach. He is a manager by title, but he's a head coach, right? His thing is coaching on the pitch. He doesn't want to involve himself in all the other things. He does it because he has so much power that whenever a player joins, usually that is the player that he wants. And we all know that. He is a manager by title, but he just wants to concentrate on football. He just wants to train players and improve them. That's what he does. He doesn't want to be caught up in all the other stuff. So press conferences, he doesn't want to be doing that after flying. You know, we know he doesn't like having the window open, for example, in the summer after the season starts. He wants all of that to be done, cut off. He says that because he doesn't want uncertainty. And we've seen that brings bad results for Villa sometimes. And maybe we're seeing that again. One win visit for Villa. So I think there's something to be said for that as well.
For want of a better phrase, Emery is a control freak. Maybe is a way to put it. All encompassing. He is involved with everything. It's just the way he works. He's across everything, every little detail, every marginal gain. He wants there to be control, certainty, absolutes. Dealing with this player, maybe this player, this amount of money. The uncertainty of transfers is irritating. It being during the season, I'm sure irritating. Coming off the back of a defeat. Injuries, irritating. I can see why Unai Emery at the moment might not quite be enjoying everything about it. Absolutely. And that's okay. If he was coming out laughing and singing, everything's perking, everything's fine, I'd think, well, you're lying, mate, because it's not, is it? We've got loads of injuries and we haven't signed anyone yet. I expect him to be in the mood that he's in. So it's not a problem for me whatsoever. I like him to show a bit of humanity. So I'd be annoyed doing it after a day full of flying and stuff. So I get it. And just a non-story, basically, in my opinion.
He wants to win this trophy for the 5th time in his career. 100th European game, 100th Europa League game for Unai tomorrow as well. So there's lots to be happy about. Onana's back.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Get onto that soon. So it's not at all, but you wanted to start with that. And I think, if people have watched that press conference, they may get that impression of like, geez, like he's down in the dumps here. What's the matter? But I'm telling you, like, having been in all those press conferences, any manager, it's not ideal, is it? It's like when they do the interviews now at half time with some managers. So someone was interviewing Ursula, and it's not the interviewer's fault, but he don't want to be doing that. But Sky, who pay the money, who make these clubs so rich, that's part of it now. If you're a big club, you got more press conferences, you've got more duties as such. So, hopefully we've kind of explained that. But there is, I think, some credence to this being in the transfer window as well, is what I would say.
Things also move quick in other areas as well of the unknowns of football, if you like. Me and Matt Kendrick did an episode this morning, 12 hours ago, in fact, as we record this, 8 a.m. this morning. It's 8 a.m. in the evening now. Back again we are. And we were speculating over John McGinn's injury and how long that might be. If Onana's another couple of weeks, we could be in trouble here. But, if he's back for Everton, amazing, happy days, that'd be brilliant. Onana has travelled to Istanbul and presumably will be in the squad tomorrow. I hope on the bench, because I'd much rather have him play against Newcastle on Sunday. But the fact he's even back and can maybe get a few minutes in his legs is only a positive. It's absolutely crucial now that he has to stay fit. And John McGinn could be some weeks, I think was the quote. Still got to see some doctors. It also depends on McGinn and how he's feeling. I think the quote was, it could be less. However, I would get a big pot of salt and have a big scoop out of it and say, we also heard 2 or 3 weeks for Kamara. And that turned into much, much worse. So at the moment, McGinn is some weeks. Well, 10 weeks is some weeks, right? Depending on your definition of it. So I'm not going to get carried away that, we'll be back in a couple of weeks then. Because he may not. Onana first. Would you play him tomorrow?
No, I wouldn't have taken him here, to be honest. I wouldn't have brought him out, to be perfectly honest. It's great. I'd rather him be here than not, but at the same time, I'd rather him not be here than not, but he's okay to play against Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? Man, what was I talking about? I think having Onana back is obviously a major plus, because if we can quickly go through it, the team for Newcastle is, or should we do this when we play when merely 24 hours? I'm going to do it anyway and touch all the wood around me. Actually, Martinez isn't in the squad, so I can't even start with Martinez, can I? That's another point. Martinez hasn't travelled. So, yeah. But for Newcastle, it's Fenerbahçe. But for Newcastle, Cash, Konsa, Powell, Maatsen, Onana, Tielemans, or Onana, Bogard, Tielemans further forward, Rodgers.
Buendia,
bad to say McGinn. Watkins. Yeah, that's a strong team, a team that can beat Newcastle. It is. Yeah. And then on the bench, you've got, hopefully, Sancho and Gesson.
Bailey.
Things can change. Maybe there's a new signing if things move quickly. Yeah, it's a shame really that we can't get Unai in a press conference on Friday. Like, between us reporters, it would talk to PLP, I think, who obviously have access to him. Hopefully there's a lot of questions asked, because there's so much to ask him.
Not much we said during that, though.
I guess it depends, but there's so much to ask him. I understand people be saying, why don't you ask it today? Why don't you ask it tonight? There's certain thing, for example, there's Turkish reporters there and need things translating. There's 10 minutes or so because they had training. Like, believe me, if I could, we would go into all the details. But again, I think if people have seen the press conference, Unai's probably not in the right frame of mind to be giving detailed answers to these questions anyway. Having said that, Onana coming back is a major boost for Villa. I don't mind if he doesn't play tomorrow. If we can give him some minutes to get some load into his legs, then great. For Newcastle, start him against Newcastle. And then you have Salzburg, that we could probably rest him again if top 2 isn't on the cards. And then he'll be there for Brentford. So it's okay. I think we'll be able to manage without Kamara. But we've been here before and we've succeeded without him before. I said in my little walk and talk thing earlier that I think one of our, or if not the best result we've had under Emery, was without Kamara, which was winning at Arsenal. So it's an old doom and gloom.
I saw somebody say on social media that when Kamara got his ACL injury in 2024, we were 5th at the time and finished 4th. So this idea of like, oh, Kamara's going to miss a load of time means we will drop down the league. Well, yeah, in theory, of course, that is also an option. But there's nothing to suggest that we're now going to, pick up 10 points for the rest of the season and that be a real struggle. We can cope without him. And if Onana can stay fit, that goes some way to doing it. If Bogard steps up, that goes some way to, obviously Bogard's not as good as Kamara, but you get the point. If those players can stay fit, if Barkley can get back, if we decide to keep him, there is options there.
Yeah.
It was the worry, the extra worry for me was obviously McGinn, which you were about to touch on. But if Onana is also out for like another month in a game where those winnable games, well, if those winnable games don't go well, then the harder games come. Do you know what I mean? Like it's important to have the players back as soon as possible. Obviously, goes without saying. McGinn being some weeks. You've been to a lot of Emery pressers. What do you think that means?
He ended it with, "We'll see how he is," and maybe it could be less. I think that's something to be cheerful about. I'd rather him say that than not. Obviously, the original theory behind Kamara's return would be, 2 to 3 weeks. It's not going to be too long, but he's going to continue to be tested.
By the way, are you sat on like the most uncomfortable chair in Turkey? Because you're extra fidgety today.
It's a slider, and to be honest, Dan, I've got no trousers on because I don't know how to take my aircon down. So it's uncomfortable. I'm not going to get up. So McGinn, it's very rare, I think, in the last couple of years that Villa have said, that they're seeing doctors after the injury. I don't know exactly what the meaning behind that is. Is that true? Or is it them trying to buy time and, I don't know, bring in another midfielder or whatever? Like, I'm not being, I don't want to be suggesting anything, but at the same time, to go from what Kamara was to actually he's probably going to miss the season is quite some jump. So for McGinn to have half of the same answer of he's continuing to see docs, firstly, we don't know. So therefore, is it going to be some weeks? Or is it actually going to be much less of that? And it's only 1 or 2. Like, we just don't know. Because when Emery says it could be some weeks, that could be 2 weeks. And that could, do you know what I mean? So I don't want to spend too much time. This is just what Emery said. And I don't have information on it at the moment. So we can only go off what literally he says. And frankly, we're guessing because of that, because it's so ambiguous. But the fact that he says or less at the end of it would suggest that they're not thinking Kamara when it was, at the moment it's this, but testing continuing. So, we'll see. That sounds like a problem. So let's just see on McGinn. But yeah, having players back, very important. I hope we don't miss him. Like, I think we will, but it is in results. But I've got a bad feeling that we're going to notice it, if that makes sense. I don't think we can replace McGinn. So I'm a bit fearful of that. I think the Kamara news, everyone thinks, how are we going to replace Kamara? How are we going to replace Kamara? I think replacing McGinn is also an issue. I just hope it's not for many games. We're going to have to deal without him.
Let's touch on Martinez quickly. I'm keen to wrap up just for your Wi-Fi, if nothing else. Not in the squad, hasn't travelled. Is this recurring back problem, do you think? And this is a game we feel, okay, we can probably leave him at home and he might start against Newcastle. Is that the pattern? Won't play in Europe at this stage, but will play in the league?
I think it's his calf.
Calf?
That's been the most issue. He's obviously had his back problem, you say, Dan, early this season, and maybe that is still a problem, not that I know of, but calf has been something that's been playing him up recently. But I don't think it sits well with fans, basically. I almost want Martinez to come out a little bit and say something himself of, I'm getting these injuries, I need to mind my body or something, because I think the way that fans perceive it is that he picks and chooses.
Well, that's exactly what it looks like.
That's my point. That's what it looks like, and that's all we have to go off, really. But we almost need someone to say, no, like he's having these problems. We have to protect him, else he misses 2 months because of surgery or whatever. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And if no one is coming out and saying that, maybe they can't, because the truth is that, he's just picking and choosing. But at the same time, I would go back to the Palace game. He felt a calf injury before that match, played through the first half with pain, then was taken off by the medical team. So he wanted to continue playing. So that's the sort of balance that I'm giving. Yeah. But equally, do you either just take him out for a month and let him refresh and be ready for the rest of the season? Or does this keep happening? Because this hasn't stopped all season. I don't know how many games he's played continuously. What's the longest run of games he's had? I don't know, but it can't be many.
Right, John, I'm going to let you go and try and work out how to turn down the aircon and cool yourself down. Thank you very much for hopping on an impromptu bonus episode of the Claret and Blue podcast. Myself and Matt Kendrick will be here tomorrow night post-game. It's a 5:45 kickoff in the UK. For some reason, I had it down as the late one, so I thought it was going to be a late night, but it won't be. John, thank you for joining me on this one. Thank you for watching along or listening, and we'll see you Thursday night. Bye-bye.